Welcome to RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD, BlenderHD. You're going to follow me on Twitter. And it's Tuesday, December 17th, and we got a messy kind of day today. We got one NBA game as well as 10 NHL games, so we'll be talking about both of them, right? Because we got some big prize pools for the NBA Cup final. It's a showdown slate, 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight between the Bucks and the Thunder, as well as a good, since it's Tuesday, a good NHL 10-game slate, some contest stuff for that, and join with me, someone that can talk about both of them. It's Tim Buell. You could join him in the Discord. Definitely join that NHL Discord. Our RotoGrinders Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. He's always in there posting all the news, all the updated projections, and everything in there. You don't even need Twitter if you have the NHL Discord. But first, Tim, we got to talk about, are you excited about the NBA Cup final?
You know, I'll be completely honest with you, Blender. I probably am going to watch this. I don't usually hate myself enough to watch things like this, but I am probably going to watch this.
Well, I mean, at least it should be a good game, right? The Bucks and the Thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have a one-game slate. We have a showdown slate. Obviously, we have SimLabs for showdown is typically fruitful to use. Unfortunately, we don't have ownership up this early as of now. I'll refresh it just to be sure. But definitely use SimLabs later tonight. You'll always see when it's updated, right? You see 12 a.m. Yeah, so this is not with the projected ownership. We do not have that up yet. But go there, typically don't use SimLabs until like an hour before lock. You may be able to use it a little bit earlier because it's only one game today. But as far as showdown is concerned, obviously if we're playing large field contests, we want to find a way to kind of get unique here.
Yeah.
So if we run the optimal based on our current projections, I mean, it's going to basically, you pretty much want to play Giannis and SGA. The problem is playing them in the captain spot is going to be pretty tough. So we're going to need some value on this slate.
So
what direction are you looking to go? I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking at like quote value, and is that 18-minute $2,800 Isaiah Joe? I mean,
I hate to say it, but that might be a guy. I ran 150 lineups just in lineup HQ just to kind of see which side was projecting the best, and I'm getting to a lot of 5-1 builds. That's 5 Thunder, 1 Milwaukee. I'm also getting to a lot of 4-2 Oklahoma. That's 4 Oklahoma, 2 Milwaukee. There are definitely ways that you can play SGA or Giannis at captain, and I don't think you're giving out. I don't think you're losing too much projection. Again, we don't have ownership yet, so it's pretty hard to say exactly what the more optimal thing to do is. But I think that there is enough value to play SGA or Giannis. If you ask me who my favorite between those two, SGA or Giannis, it would probably be SGA. Just because I do expect Oklahoma City to win this game. So I am going to side with SGA, and he's a little bit cheaper as well.
Well, the thing is that on the OKC side, there's just the production is a lot more spread out than on Milwaukee. So you see here, Middleton coming back, playing, we have him projected for 24 minutes. It's really going to hurt a lot of, these other guys. I mean, it's kind of like Giannis, Lillard. We both have 38 minutes. And then, Portis seems overpriced. Lopez seems overpriced in the 7Ks. Middleton, 6,600 seems a bit overpriced. That everyone else is just kind of like a role player. Like you're playing a guy that can he hit a couple of threes, right? Can Torian Prince pull down a bunch of rebounds in a short period of time? Can Gary Trent get hot from behind the line? The Thunder seems like that's why you see more 5-1 and 4-2s is that you could fit in more of those guys. You could fit in a Casey Wallace, a Lou Dort, an Alex Caruso, these types of players that they're much more valuable than the Milwaukee role players. So do you really think
I wonder if maybe going a 1-5 with Giannis at captain might be the best.
How are you gonna play Giannis or SGA at captain and fit anyone in?
I mean, we have Alex Caruso at 4,400, Isaiah Joe 2,800, Cason Wallace is 4,800. Those three guys right there are definitely viable salary savers. I also think that Aaron Wiggins at 2K is completely fine. We've seen Kenrich Williams kind of play some minutes, inconsistent, but we have seen him play minutes here and there, and he's 2,400. And like you said, Milwaukee's is more condensed. So I mean, if everything is going to condense to the top with Giannis, maybe you play him at captain, and then you play some cheap Oklahoma City guys with SGA.
Well, I mean, the in theory, as far as lineup construction is concerned on this, is that if you're gonna play like Giannis or SGA as captain, like they have to put up a very big score. This is not like classic slates where the raw points still matter, but like the opportunity it's only one game. There's only so many players that are even available to play. So like if Giannis puts up 60 and SGA puts up 60, like having them in the captain spot with guys that put up like 8 points and 10 points may end up not optimal compared to if several other people put up 35, 40 fantasy points. So like I view these types of spots where the captain spot, like if you're going to play SGA in the captain spot, I really don't want to play that many people that correlate to SGA as much. And the same thing for Giannis. I'm much more likely to, if this game is close, which, I mean, the spread is only 5 points, that play a lineup that benefits from a close game that is lower scoring, meaning that I care about the raw points, but I care about the raw points in the utility spots more than in the captain spot. So getting a lineup where you're playing like Cason Wallace in the captain, just so you could play Giannis, SGA, Jalen Williams, or Hartenstein, and you want to get all the raw points in utility, and you don't care if your captain only scored 18 points times 1.5x. It's like, well, the only way to get all those 5 people in your utility spots and not play a guy like Isaiah Joe or Aaron Wiggins and Jackson and these guys down here is that, well, you have to use like one of these like little mid-range guys as captain. But I mean, it's not like that's going to be unowned either. I mean, we don't have ownership yet, but I mean, those lineups are going to be used as well because most likely those are like cash type. That typically your cash lineup in this type of slate will be to jam in the most productive players,
the stars and scrubs. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Isaiah Hartenstein's captain projected ownership is going to be. I did bet his over 11.5 points. I know that our scores and odds team are high on his over points and rebounds also. So I did bet his points over 11.5. I do like Hartenstein quite a bit in this matchup. So I'm definitely going to wait and see like what his projected ownership at captain is going to be because I do like him quite a bit.
With our Milwaukee projections being a bit low on some guys, because of the minutes distribution. Is there viability to play these guys over Giannis, to play Lillard instead of Giannis, to play a Brook Lopez or a Bobby Portis or a Middleton and these guys? Would you
I don't
play
think
them?
you should.
Like the key thing is, would you play them in lineups with Giannis? Like how about a lineup where you're just playing the Milwaukee guys, like Giannis, Lillard, and you don't play SGA, and you just play like a Dort, Wallace, all the kind of the role players for OKC. And that, to me, that seems like more of a game where the Bucks dominate, and someone like SGA and Jalen Williams and Hartenstein are the guys that just don't get there.
I'm still out on Middleton because I don't think he has played over 22 minutes yet in a game. So I'm not on Middleton yet. Dame, I think, is completely fine. Large field GPP pivot. I don't think I'd be able to play Lillard and Giannis together though. So he would have to be somebody that I would go without Giannis. So you're putting in, what, you just lock in Lillard, SJ, and Giannis?
Lillard and Giannis.
And Caruso's the captain. What is that?
Joe,
what is that?
Jason Wallace.
Projects are what, 213 it says?
Yeah.
That's really not that bad. I mean, the optimal is 220.
Right.
That isn't like a horrible downgrade. I still don't really like the idea of playing Dame and Giannis together, but I suppose you could do it.
Or even Jalen Williams. Like, I don't know how on OKC, I think Jalen Williams may be one of the lower owned ones. I mean, not unowned, but lower.
Right. And that team got up to what, 218?
218. Yeah, this is
fine.
I mean, it's still mostly
that's a pretty. Yeah.
But all of these Milwaukee guys, like if I X'd out Giannis and just played Lillard, only 212.9. Oh, well, Giannis is the captain spot, so I have to get rid of. Like if you play a lineup without Giannis at all, 212.82 with SGA at captain. Yeah, I mean, if you're not playing Giannis, you could end up playing SGA captain, but still, you end up with all the OKC players to begin with, right? I mean,
it's gonna be really hard to get away from those cheapy OKC players, just because they're gonna play minutes. Their prices are low. They're on the favored team, and there's not really, like, I don't want to play Taurean Prince and his 4.5 point prop. Okay, like I don't really want to play Taurean Prince, to be honest with you. I don't really want to play
even Gary Trent.
Yeah, well, see, I think Gary Trent's at least somewhat interesting because he does have some. He's like a high variance player. Like sometimes he exceeds his minutes limit by quite a bit, and sometimes he's a lot lower. So at least you have some volatility with Gary Trent. Still a very uncomfortable click though. But yeah, I mean, some of these cheaper Milwaukee pieces are really uncomfortable clicks.
It's just that the OKC players have better, like, I'm not by absurd amounts, better like fantasy point per minute rates.
Yeah,
the Milwaukee guys are just like guys that just like hang around on the court with Lillard and Giannis to just take up space most of the time.
Right. The only other Milwaukee player I would consider is Bobby Portis, just because he can flash the ceiling. He's 7K. I think you could throw him in with a Giannis team. I think he would be somewhat interesting. So I don't mind Bobby Portis.
Okay, well, SimLabs should be updated the next couple hours. Definitely use that to build your lineups with our updated projections and ownership. But let's talk about NHL tonight. I'll bring that up. I have the starting lineups here. So what are the top teams on the slate? Is it I'm looking at our stacks page. It seems like even in, I mean, I'm looking at the projections lineup HQ. I'm not used to seeing a slate where like the high end options. I mean, is it just a low scoring slate? Kucherov at 9,600 has a 19-point projection, and then it really drops from there.
It's pretty.
This doesn't look like a high scoring slate. This looks like a slate.
Well,
that's going to be won by a pretty low score.
There's no McKinnon. There's no Matthews. There's no McDavid. So I mean, you're really missing those highest tier players. Tampa Bay is going to be the clear and obvious chalk. Victor Hedman was hurt last game, but he did participate in morning skate. He participated on the power play drills. I'm assuming he's in. Moneyball hasn't projected in. So that's one piece of news that I don't think we have to worry about. Tampa Bay is going to be by far the chalkiest team. Like Tampa Bay won, Tampa Bay power play won. The last time these two teams played, it was 7-6. Now I don't think Vasilevsky was in goal for that game. I'm pretty sure he wasn't, but still, I don't. I think Tampa Bay got up 4-0 early, and then all of a sudden they just started bleeding goals. But still, like this Tampa Bay team is going to be the overwhelming chalk. And so what you decide to do with them and how you set your exposures, or if you want to fade them completely in single entry, I mean, they are by far the most important decision point on the slate.
Well, if you don't play Tampa Bay, what are the other options? I'm looking on the DraftKings stack values page, which is available here for NHL and combo premium subscribers, because I always like sorting by value. Doesn't necessarily I want to play the best value. Like, I don't care about point per dollar value when the point per dollar value is like, oh, it's great, but they only scored 7 points between the three people. Looks like Nashville's power play is viable. I mean, it's very rare that I look on the stack values page and I start scrolling and waiting for like the green and see Tampa Bay, and then it's just like you keep on scrolling and like you don't see anything. And like even the yellow ones, which are like in the mid range, are like not that appealing. You have Nashville power. You have Nashville. You have, it looks like Predators and Kings, I guess.
Yeah, Kings.
But I look at these projections and I don't know. It's just like it's weird that Philip Forsberg would be a top play on the slate, and his projection for 7,200 is like 14. And it's like, I mean, that's fine, but it doesn't stand out or anything.
Yeah, that's the other piece of news on the other side of this game is Artemi Panarin is day-to-day. That would be a potentially pretty big loss for the Rangers. But on the other side of this game, Roman Josi, I don't think he'll be playing in this game. So they're pretty thin on that blue line. So, it's that, guys like Nyquist, O'Reilly, they're very, very cheap. And I think that line one is pretty cheap as well. The thing is, Igor is a really exceptional goalie. So, I mean, normally we don't care too much about goalies, but if Nashville's going to get ownership, which I'm thinking right now they might, because they are cheap and they project well, I'm not really that interested in Nashville, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit concerned about their potential to get steamed in terms of ownership.
And how efficient are the Predators going to be without Josi?
I mean, it definitely hurts. It definitely hurts their all around game quite a bit. They have enough veteran presence in that top six that I don't think it absolutely kills them. But for me, it's just ownership. That's the thing. Like, I'm a little bit worried that Nashville, like line one and line two, may end up getting to be popular.
The other team that shows up as a good value, how about is the Kings. But the problem with the Kings, as always, to me at least, is they score 5 goals and it comes from everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Feel free to, like, their power play lines and their regular lines are all a little mixed up. So, like, when you play line 1, line 2 scores 3 points. When you play line 2, line 3 scores 2 points. When you play the power play, they get a shorthanded goal. What are we doing with the Kings?
I actually like the Kings, but I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. They can be extremely frustrating in terms of where the production comes from. I did bet Kevin Fiala over 0.5 point earlier today. That was one of our better edged picks in our prize picks tool. So I do like Kevin Fiala over half a point. I like Kevin Fiala, even if you don't want to go heavy on the Kings. I think you can go a one-off of Fiala. I would try to just honestly go power play one and get some exposure to each line. Pittsburgh has really struggled defensively. They have been playing a little bit better lately, but I still don't have much faith in them. So if I'm looking to attack this game, I think I'm going to attack it with the Kings power play one. And don't sleep on that line. Don't sleep on that line 3 either in large field GPPs. Probably not going to get to anyone outside of Byfield in single entry, but don't sleep on that line 3 if you're looking for a real cheap fill-in stack and for like a large field play.
I just feel like you could end up playing, Turk out at 2,500, Denault at 3,500. I'm not sure if you need to go to line 3 even. Like you could legitimately play power play 2 when you're still getting access to both. I mean, like look here, you could actually play power play 1 and play Byfield, Fiala, and Kempe together. I mean, like I don't play that way where I'm playing 3 guys from 3 different even strength lines, even though they're on the power play. I try to play guys that are as condensed as possible ice time as you can. So like I don't mind going like 2 guys from 1 and 1 guy from 2 that are all on the same power play line. But I'm not like, if I'm going to play Byfield, I'll probably play Byfield by himself rather than with anyone else unless you're going to play line 3.
Right. No, I think that's fine. I think, go ahead.
No, I was going to move on to another team.
That was too.
Oh, maybe we're going to talk about the same team. Is the contrarian play that with people playing the Lightning and possibly playing the Predators? Is it the Winnipeg Jets against the Sharks? Because they're playing the Sharks and they're the biggest favorite. And why can't I play Kyle Connor when everyone's playing Kucherov?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be that contrarian. I do anticipate that they're going to be lower owned than Tampa Bay, but this should probably be the second highest owned stack, I would imagine. Everyone really likes to pick on the Sharks, and that's not a bad strategy at all. Gabriel Velarde at 4,700. I mean, he's a cash game play. Like he's going to be all over optimals. Still a fantastic tournament play as well. Scheifele is the one guy that I tend to get a little bit, I don't know, I don't love playing him, especially at 7,100, but I absolutely love Kyle Connor at 8,400. So Connor and Velarde, you can play them in any format, but obviously if you want to fill out the stack, that's fine. I just think Scheifele can be a little bit hit or miss, and I always feel like he's kind of too expensive as well. So
he always has a good floor. He always feels like you play him, and it's like, oh, he got me 14 points, and you're still not happy. But it's like, well, he didn't kill me. Like I feel like I tend to play like I'd rather play Morrissey in a defender spot over Scheifele. I'd rather just I'll get some $3,500 center from some other team that could put up 20 points, out of the blue, and then play at least a defender. Like, me, Tim. I mean, I know we haven't talked NHL in a while. I tend to play smaller to mid-size field contests, and I think there's a lot of value in making sure you get a lot of points out of your defender spots. Because I think too many people still punt defender spots and occasionally show up. Some $2,700 guy on the second defensive pair that has no power play time ends up getting a goal or ends up getting, an assist and the block shot bonus for like dirt cheap nothing. But like, good luck predicting that. I mean, it's not like these guys it's not like, oh, well, that guy's 36% owned. It's like, no, these are all guys that are like 2% owned that are just like some punt play that you throw in there. And a lot of times they just end up with a 0 or a 1.3 or 3 points or something. I'd rather have 15 points from both of my defender spots. And if that means I'd rather just play a $3,200 winger that is like, he's going to get 2 shots And but he scores a lot. He scores a lot, doesn't assist, doesn't really do anything else other than score. Like if I'm gonna go for that, if I'm gonna go for 10 or 15 points, I'm gonna do it in one of those spots rather than punt a defender spot with some like penalty kill guy with a block shot ceiling.
See, I really like Adam Pelech today. He's 2,500 for the Islanders. It's his second game back from injury, and he's exactly the type of guy that you're describing. He's more of a block shot guy, but he should play low 20s minutes. He's the Stone Min.
Yeah, but he's a little bit different because normally he's priced like at 1,200 more than that.
Yeah, probably 1,000 more. But yeah,
Right.
yeah, like low threes. So I mean, I think he's a fantastic filler. I don't think that I do agree with you though. You don't have to actively seek someone like him out. Okay.
Right.
But if you need somebody who's the Stone Min, he comes with a lot of safety, like ceiling against Carolina. He's not a power play guy. Yeah, he probably doesn't have that big of a ceiling, but I think his floor is really solid. He's projecting for 2.2 blocks as a medium projection. So I mean, the 3 block bonus is as well within the range of possible outcomes. Carolina is a really good possession team, so they should be shooting the puck quite a bit. So I think Pelech at the min is a really, really solid value.
I mean, he's more valuable in lineups that where you're paying for an expensive stack. If you're paying for like a full power play 1 lightning stack, it's like you're gonna need to use someone like that. Like
Right.
if you're like, I know they're not on the slate, but if you're playing like the Avalanche, right? Type of the first line. It's like, yeah, those are the ones. But you need, when you play stuff like that, like if you're going to play Tampa Bay Lightning 1 with Pelech, it's like the Lightning can't just be like 2 points from that line. Like you're aiming for 4 points from that line. And then Pelech could have like 8 points. And well, the only way to fit in Braden Point, Gunsel, and Kucherov, who Kucherov has 5 points by himself. Gunsel has 3 goals, and Point has a goal and 2 assists. It's like, well, the only way to get that is with Pelech's 8 points or something like, yeah, sure. I'm not sure if tonight's that type of slate, because I basically take a look, and outside of the Lightning putting up a ton of points, I'm just not even sure. I'm just not even. I think raw points are going to matter on this slate more than I've seen in previous Tuesday slates that I've played in NHL. Because, I mean, seriously, I mean, I'm looking at the projections, and Brady Tkachuk at 9,100 and Jack Hughes at 8,800 and Pasternak's 8,600 and he put 15 points. I mean, I just take a look at, we take out even the goalkeepers here. I'm just not used to seeing, guys in the 7K range be like, yeah, 12, 13 points. It's like, dude, these are the guys. This is like 6K level guys. I'd rather play these guys than the higher price guys. So to me, like, I don't see a reason outside of playing Tampa of why you should even want, like, why do we even need to play $2,500 defenders?
No, I mean that is a valid point. Like if you don't want to like pay all the way up for Tampa Bay or some of those expensive Winnipeg guys, you absolutely do not have to play the $2,500 Islander defenders. I do want to talk one more time about the Islanders though. Matthew Barzal is 4,200. That's his second game back. I mean that's a real discount off of his normal price. Usually he's around like 55, 56. Again, not a good matchup, but the price is really, really nice. So, and like I said, we don't have any of those big 3 centers that we usually like to play at the center position. So going into that mid-range, lower tier at center so that you can pay up for some of those more expensive wingers like Nikita Kucherov or Jake Gensel, part of that stack, or Victor Hedman, something like that. I think that those Islanders do give you some really, really strong value to play some of those more expensive Tampa Bay stacks.
So outside of these teams that we mentioned, with Nashville, with Tampa Bay, with the Kings, with Winnipeg, what would be like your favorite? Like maybe not in small field, but in large field. What team? Like this is the off the board team.
Yeah, so I guess my team that would really just be like based off vibes, right? Like the math doesn't necessarily back it up, but I really like the Washington Capitals. That would be the team. They're playing the Blackhawks. Washington's really outperformed. I thought that they would really struggle with no Ovechkin, but that does not seem to be the case. But they're not a team that typically projects that well, but they continue to outperform their expectations. So guys like Connor McMichael at 6,500, I love that. I'm not really a Dylan Strome guy. He always projects pretty terribly, but again, this is my vibes play. Okay, so just bear with me. Like Dylan Strome doesn't project well, but he's on the power play one with Connor Michael. I don't mind Tom Wilson at 6,200. I don't mind that second line just by itself or that first line, but just by themselves, ignore the power play. I think Rasmussen Dean is a pretty decent value, like kind of a punt defenseman. So if you're looking for a team that's not going to be showing up in optimizers and just kind of like want to follow the hot run and against a severely inferior opponent, I think the Capitals are a good team to attack.
Right, I'll just play John Carlson like I normally do.
He is not the same John Carlson that he once was. I'll just say that though.
True,
But
I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't. I don't hate it though. I don't hate it.
I mean, looking at like high price defenders, I mean, I'm not saying that I'd play John Carlson tonight, but he's one of those like the one-off defenders that I play a lot of. Carlson, McAvoy, right? Weegar, these. I mean, typically Yossi is way too expensive, but I mean, I sometimes will fit him in. But it's like that level of like the 5K ish, and if I'm going to play one-off defenders like that, I definitely do not want to play them on the chalky teams. Like, I don't want to play Hedman as a one-off with Tampa Bay, because typically these are the type of guys that get there through, like, that may have a goal, they may have 2 assists, they may have, they kind of have points across the, they get fantasy points across the board. Their ceilings are so much tied to the forwards on their team that I don't want to play like Morrissey as a one-off. I don't want to play, I don't even know what Nashville. I don't want to play. I don't know if there anyone in Nashville defense is going to be popular. Really, I mean, no.
Brady Shea was popular.
Maybe,
was popular, but it looks like they're going 5 forwards on their power play one now, so that should really decrease his ownership, because he was somewhat popular when he was running the power play one for Yossi. Adam Fox on the other side of that game, he could end up maybe getting some ownership. He's 5,800.
He's someone I would play with if no one's playing the Rangers.
Yes. Yep. I agree with that. Yep. I think that's a good call.
And lastly, goalkeeper, which typically is just fit whoever you want to fit in.
Or you can stack your goaltender, like with pair him with some of your stacks to get that kind of correlation. Like Sorokin is showing up in a lot of optionals right now, even though they're underdogs, but he's relatively cheap, and optimizers are also shot volume. Optimizers are giving you a lot of Pelech, I think a lot of Barzal, a lot of Dobson. So there's that correlation with Sorokin also. So Sorokin could easily get 38 saves, give up 3 goals, not even get the win, and have a pretty solid game. Now, if he gets the win, you're really cooking. Okay. But I mean, even if he gives up 3 goals, I feel like Carolina could give up enough volume that he could still pay off that price tag.
This also doesn't feel like the type of slate where you necessarily have to dumpster dive for all your lineups anyway.
True.
You could play middle. I mean, I'm not a big fan of paying up at goalkeeper completely, but I'm also not a big fan of garbage crapping goalkeeper either. At least for my small field, medium sized field type of stuff. So I tend to hang out in like the mid range. I tend to hang out with playing Jeremy Swayman against Calgary type of range.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that where win equity is there as well as shot, but like it's a mix of everything. Where in the like these lower, like Sorokin's the type of play on this slate where there's going to be a lot of time. There's going to be many more times that he gets like only 6 points, fantasy points, rather than 38 fantasy points. But like
my word
like Swayman in this role, it's like, can I get 16 points here? 16, 18 points here? Like, yeah, I think this is a pretty decent shot. Like typically the median, once you move up in salary, like the medians are like your more likely outcomes. And then in the bottom scale, it's like, well, Sorokin has a 13-point median. It's like, yeah, but he doesn't score 13 points in this spot he's going to score like 6, 7, 8, or like 19, 20, or like it's going to be, you'll get negative points sometimes. Like it's just higher variance down here. And a lot of times in the smaller field stuff, like you don't gain much from goalkeeper variance as long as you're not playing like the chalk of the chalk. Like a lot of times the goalkeeper I play in the small field stuff is like 2% owned. Like
yeah.
And then a guy like Sorokin is like 22% owned. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to dumpster dive, I'm not going to play the 22% owned $7,100 guy. In the same way that even if I was like paying up or whatever, I'm not playing the 22% owned anyone up here. Just like, I'm just going to play a sub 5% owned goalkeeper that has a great shot at hitting his median. Because most likely in the small field, if my stack goes off and everything else goes off, the goalkeeper may not matter unless there is a total outlier at decent ownership. The goalkeeper that scores 40 points that slate, a lot of times is like 1% owned, and like they're not combined with the stacks that you need anyway. So I don't feel like I need to like aim for ceiling at goalkeeper, especially in the smaller field stuff.
And I imagine Sorokin is going to get some ownership as well, which makes me nervous to play him. I wouldn't mind like pivoting to like Jordan Binnington at 7,300 against the Devils. He's projected within less than a point of Sorokin, and I would imagine he's going to come at a fraction of the ownership.
Yeah, but you got to get ready for the Jordan Binnington experience, though. You got to. These
guys are all the experience,
right?
It's not.
They're
it's
like
not
they're Jameis Winston in football. I mean, it's just
yeah.
Some of these goalkeepers are, boy.
I thought,
the number one culprit of that is actually the highest priced goalkeeper on the slate.
Yeah, I played Sam Mountainbaugh the other day, and I thought I was like, oh, this is gonna be great, and he gave up like 7 goals, and I was like, oh, there goes my night, pretty quick.
Dude, I've played Hellbuke in these spots where he's an 8K level goalkeeper, and he gives up 4 goals in the first period and comes out of the game.
Right.
Anything else for the slate tonight?
Just if people want to tail me, I did bet the Flames plus 110 on DraftKings. So along with my Fiala bet, those are my two hockey bets.
And anything else you got going on this week, content wise?
No, I'll just be doing NHL all week, and then I'll be on a couple of I think I'm doing a Saturday NFL show because I think there's a 2-game Saturday slate. So I'll be doing a Saturday day slate show with TJ, and then I'll be on NBA later that night on Saturday.
And then waking up early on Sunday for the People Show.
That's right.
Sunday pre-lock. My morning wake up. My wake up show. Yep. Right. Get to hear about all the I guess Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, are we just playing all the Jahmyr Gibbs? I guess because
it's gonna be all Yeah, I had 2 teams advance to the next round of best ball last night, and one of them has Montgomery in it, so I'm pretty bummed.
I just like all the best ball tiers from the people that drafted high end running backs that victory lap the entire season until playoff week 1, and Barkley and Henry both failed.
I misclicked one time and had one Henry team out of 150, and that was a misclick. And then I had maybe 5 Barkley teams, and only one of them advanced. But my big problem was I had a ton of Chris Godwin and Rashid Rice. That was it for me.
Right. Yeah, you got them. You did very well with them until
yeah.
You didn't.
I mean, I think I made the right picks, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah, but now it seems like the Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson type teams, they're the teams that are actually going to win your league.
Yeah. Well, and Amon-Ra. I've got Amon-Ra in my 2 last teams, so I'm really banking on Amon-Ra here next week.
Okay, well, I'll be on tomorrow for a first look of the Week 16 NFL slate, the main one on DraftKings and FanDuel. But hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Give me all the thumbs. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. We will have a crunch time later tonight for this one-game NBA Cup final, the showdown slate. Big prize pools on DraftKings. So check that out and definitely join the Discord. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Join the NHL channel. Talk to Tim. Talk to Dane. Talk to all the guys in there. It's a very, very nice channel. And you get all of the new, dude, you do not need Twitter. If you just open up that channel, if there are line changes, goalkeeper changes, morning skate updates, any news quotes, any coach speak, anything, it's all posted there. You can ask whatever questions you want. It's a really good community. I would definitely suggest you join, and then join me back like you normally do on weekdays at 11 o'clock Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick on RotoGrinders Today.